Good Friday afternoon, evening, wherever you may be.
Haha.
Are you busy now?
I'm always busy.
Oh, okay.
It's a challenge of life.
Challenge of life. And you're back this week.
I'm back. Depends. Back where?
Well, you're back from your trip to Greece. That's
Oh, yeah,
the
that-
main one. How was Greece? I actually haven't talked to you
was
about that.
awesome. Yeah, Greece is awesome. I like Greece. I like people in Greece. It was great.
But it's nicer to be back home in the undisclosed location.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to not going anywhere for
You're done.
a month.
You're done,
more
right?
than a month. Yeah?
I think it's end of January is when your
Yeah,
next
somewhere end
out
of
is.
Mid-January, I think. Some Google
Yeah.
thingy, something.
Anyway, why are we rambling about this? Because we can. And it's Friday. And everybody's hanging out with us. So, by the way, my name's Darren. This over here is Victor. And we're the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And on Wednesdays, that comes out at 6 a.m. Eastern. And on Fridays, when we're both in town, we tend to try to look at the news of the week. And this time we have news of 2 weeks. So,
There we go. More
there we go.
news.
Now, I will switch out. How can I switch out to this? Temporarily, because now it's December, it's time for snow. So we have some snow there. And wait, I have to just go over the top. Now we have even more snow. Okay, that's enough of that. Wait, we also have this friend here.
Christmas, baby.
So yeah, we are in that time. All right, enough fun with that. Let's get into a couple of things here that does matter. By the way, if you have your drink, go ahead and get your drink out because it is that time of day. Karen, good to see you. Thanks for being here with us live today. Always good to see familiar names pop up. Again, if you haven't been around or you haven't been watching our Twitter or LinkedIn page, and if you haven't been watching those, you should be. But by this time, you're tired of seeing what's going on those two outlets. Have you paid much attention, Victor? No, you haven't.
Not at all.
No.
Paying attention is not my forte.
Moving on. So we've been nominated in 3 categories. One for the podcast, one for the DevOps Toolkit YouTube channel, which is not this channel. It's Victor's channel. And then Victor as Top DevOps Evangelist. So if you want to vote for us and you haven't voted yet, you can go to the link that's down at the bottom, devopsparadox.com/vote. It will redirect you to the place to vote. And now, we're not the only things there, but there's a lot of other things there. So, if you want to vote for everything, great. If you don't want to vote for everything, great. But
No, if
and we
don't
can't tell you how to
for
vote.
everything, vote only for us.
Okay. There you go. Okay. He said it. I didn't, but that's fine. I'm going to answer Ari's question here. I'm going to attempt to. You have to teach Victor how to do those animation effects when he's on his own. Can you do things on your own?
First of all, I'm almost never on my own, at least when I'm live. The question is only whether Darin is appearing on the camera or he's in a background.
And recently it's been more in the background. Because I don't want to come into the studio for doing a lot of things. So I just stay in my office, and my office looks like a bomb went off.
Darin is shy.
Well, also, on Thursdays, that time of day is a little more tenuous for me. I have a lot more things moving on. Friday afternoons, lunchtime, it's like, okay, this is easy. This is my lunchtime, so it's easy for me to step away. But anyway, if you haven't voted for us, please vote, and vote your conscience. There we go. Vote your conscience. Conscience? Vote. Okay.
Yeah.
Since you're, it's been one of those weeks. So since you've been out for 2 weeks, we got a couple of weeks of podcast. First off, we talked to, because I forgot to look it up again, Sergey about Testcontainers. He's with Atomic Jar. And if you're not using Testcontainers, why not? You should be using Testcontainers nowadays. Just use Testcontainers. So that was last week. And then this week's was speaking with Benjamin from Steadybit. And if you have listened to it, I want to go ahead and apologize, I guess, in arrears, because I really messed up Benjamin's audio. And it just did. I was listening to it again this morning, and it was like, boy, that's really hard to listen to. So I apologize. I'm trying to make sure that the quality is where I want it to be, and that one I let slip through. So that's my fault. But anyway, besides that, Steadybit's about chaos. And we all love chaos. And Steadybit makes it easier. I mean, it just chaos, I believe chaos, maybe not in 2023, but I think chaos is going to come back around in the next few years to where that's going to be table stakes again.
Chaos or chaos testing? Chaos has been around forever.
Always, yeah. Chaos testing then. Okay. Use the correct words. So, yeah. What do you think, though, about it? Am I going too far on that one?
No.
I mean, security is going to, like, 2023 is going to be security, right? But then the next part of it is going to be being chaotic about security.
I mean, to be honest, kind of chaos engineering, chaos testing, whatever you want to call it, is one of those things that I actually missed in terms of predicted wrongly. I expected it to be a massive thing a while ago. A while ago, a year or 2 years ago. I expected it to become much more adopted. But it will be.
But it will be. Yeah. So anyway, podcast comes out on Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern, noon CET, except in those weird times of year to where daylight time is different. And it's 5 hours difference. So we had 2 graduates this past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 graduates. First graduate was Argo. So now, right along with Kubernetes, right there in the top of the landscape is Argo. But then at the same time, Flux graduated.
They go in pairs. One cannot do something without the other one doing it as well.
Yeah. So, we won't go through all the details on that, but congratulations to both projects for graduating. And to all the companies that are using them, you should be happy now, because now you're top tier. If you're holding up and trying to decide which way do I go, Argo or Flux, it depends on what you need to do.
Roll the
right?
dice.
Is that roll the dice? If you're talking just the CD side of things, it's roll the dice, right?
Yeah.
But if you need a bigger ecosystem, you might want to lean towards Argo because you've got events, you've got the other things, right? So
exactly. Now, to be clear, I'm not necessarily saying that, hey, we should always use everything from the same project, right? So it's not you cannot combine Argo events with Flux, for example. Of course you can. Just slightly easier.
Yeah, and then just do what's right for you. But the good thing about this is they're both now graduated. So the argument that you might have had, well, this one's graduated and this one is sandbox, that one's now gone. That's not a valid argument. There was a small window of time. Now, another thing that I saw this week came from Microsoft's or from Azure. Isovalent is now going to be powering the data plane for AKS. This is all the eBPF stuff. So Azure, Isovalent coming together. Isovalent's going to be providing all of that under the hood for AKS.
Very cool.
But what I thought was interesting,
Isovalent is one of the more important companies behind eBPF. So
yeah,
good choice.
And it's Cilium, right? That's what it all boils down to. Is it's Isovalent is the productized version of Cilium.
Exactly.
Right. So I thought this was interesting. Early access. You got the money, pay for it, do it. Question is, will we see this pop up in the other two? I think we will. Well,
I mean,
maybe
I'm not sure about that type of partnership because I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But Cilium is likely going. I mean, it is the de facto standard for networking in Kubernetes today. That's what comes out of the box in most distributions.
So, we talked Argo, we talked Flux, we've talked Isovalent and AKS.
Okay.
It's almost time. It's almost time
there.
I think that's this coming week, if I remember right.
Yeah, I don't know. I dropped the ball on that one. I'm not sure when it's coming. It should be somewhere around now.
So, deprecations and removals. By the way, if you're just listening to this, we're talking about Kubernetes 1.26. So, there are a couple of things here. Let's take a look at the editor picks. And this editor pick is from Sysdig. Sysdig always produces a blog post a couple of weeks before it actually releases. So provisioning volumes from cross namespace snapshots. What? Can you think of a good reason for this?
I don't know what that means. Provisioning volumes from cross namespace snapshots.
Well, I think this is alpha feature. So you'll be able to create a PVC from a volume snapshot across namespaces. Used to, you had to have both objects in the same namespace.
Yeah.
Which I think this goes into supporting the one that's a little bit further down of allowing stateful sets to start replica ordinal numbering. I think these two go together. Or they support the PVC one supports this one, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know, man. I don't understand how people manage to follow. I'm lost. Now I need 1 hour after this session to go through it. It's not
line by line. Anyway, anytime I see disk related things, I've always liked storage. Storage is just a weird thing for me. Maybe it's just my old days of working in databases, where storage, where you were searching for as many spindles as you could find. I remember setting up one of my first Sybase and Microsoft SQL Server installations, and we were trying to find as many 250 meg, you heard me right, 250 meg drives as I could. And would load up these massive just racks of drives because I wanted as many spindles moving as I could, because that gave me better performance.
Imagine if somebody traveled back in time and gave you a USB disk that replaces all that.
I know. That was in
not
90
disk, but USB
stick, right? I know. I understood what you were saying. I think that was in 94 and 95 when I was doing that. Different decade. A lot of deprecations. Do any of these make any sense to you?
I mean, they do. I don't use. I mean, auto-scaling, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be. Yeah, kind of. That's been for a while now, and it'd be to something.
Here's the removed. So user space proxy. Nothing serious here, right?
I don't think that. Not many will be affected.
Yeah.
Well, look, it OpenStack something. I did not even know that it's there. There we go.
So anyway, now it's time to get ready and upgrade to 126 on day one of the release, right before you go on your Christmas
1st.
holidays. No,
December 31st. That's the best time you can do it. No?
No. December 24th.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, depends on a part of the world.
Yes. I was just saying, just going into holidays, it doesn't matter, right? If you do it December, let's be a little more holiday agnostic. Let's just say December 20th. And you're going on holidays for the rest of the year and not coming back till January 5th on the 21st. It's like punch the button, run out the door.
When you think about it, actually, that's if you want to not to suffer through potential issues, that's actually the right moment. Do it, go to vacation, let somebody else figure it out.
Look at this. So Cilium's already the default in GKE. I did not know that.
And
default.
GKE, I didn't know about anywhere. I don't use it myself, so that's really cool. I mean, it's in a bunch of others.
Yeah.
Almost everybody. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cilium something. I mean, Google never uses kind of as is.
Yeah.
It's always based on something.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So Kubernetes, that's all the Kubernetes news for the week. Sigstore is now producing a new iChart. So this, along with the OSSF, Open Source Security Foundation, you can't see my mouse, unfortunately, because of how I'm sharing, but now we've got a new iChart starting to build.
Congrats of making something that a human can actually go through.
Well, until it grows too large, right?
I'm giving them half a year until it becomes unhuman.
Oh, man, I know. This is the key thing here. If you're still not signing your assets, and now with Harbor supporting OCI,
Yep.
you have zero reason to not sign your assets today. And notice how I'm saying this. I didn't say image. I said assets.
Exactly. Exactly. Especially since you just need to add a command to your pipeline or wherever you're producing those assets, and that's it.
And I saw somebody, maybe I'm mixing up things I was reading this week. Somebody was doing a one-time key. I don't think it was cosine, though. I think it was something else I was looking at. Now, how would you do a one-time key? I don't understand that, but different conversation.
I mean, you would need to then rely heavily on storing it somewhere with some logic.
Oh, you know what? I never scrolled down this. I just saw this and I put it on the list. They actually break it down. So there's the architecture spec. There's the projects. Why didn't I catch this? I don't know. Deployments. There's Sigstore. There's the integrations, languages, and then signed with. These are the projects already being signed.
I expect that this last part that will grow drastically in this year.
Yeah. So anyway, that is add your signed project. That's what you need to do. That reminds me, I need to do something else.
So are you going now to put me on a big screen and while you go out to sign something?
No. I'm not going to do it now, but I know what I'm going to do. And as I'm processing this, I'll hear myself talking about this and it will remind me that I need to go do the thing that I was thinking about that I was needing to go do. There you go.
Precisely what I was thinking as well.
Okay. So reInvent also happened while you were out. It happened the week that you were in Greece. I think you did better going to Greece than going to Vegas. I'll just leave it at that.
I haven't been there to reinvent yet, so I cannot say for certain, but sounds like I had better time than...
Okay.
No, during the day. They had better parties, I heard, during the night.
Oh. I don't know about that. But anyway, so one of the things they announced at reInvent that caught my ear, I didn't listen to everything about reInvent, but I was trying to watch all the news. It seemed to be pretty boring to me. Unless you were into machine learning, which there was a lot of stuff about machine learning, I don't really care about that. I mean, I care about it, but not to the point I care about other things.
You're me, but we're old. That's for cool kids now.
Yeah.
Cool kids are not our age.
No. You're not even my age. So that's...
Yeah, give or take.
I got a decade on you. But anyway, right now, Lambda has always been a problem with cold starts, right? And it's just what it is, and that's fine, right? It's better than nothing, right? That's whether you love Lambda or hate it, it's something. But now they've got this thing called Lambda SnapStart, which basically, and right now I believe it's only for Java, but they're going to be adding in other languages too. Not that the other languages were as slow as Java. I think Java was the worst. But now it'll spin up in a heck of a lot faster time. I can't remember what the timing was, but because it's doing extra caching, it's using, I mean, it's already based on Firecracker anyway, which is what Fly.io runs on, all those things. But this is, now I'm willing to go back and try Lambda again, just because.
I still cannot, I'm still trying to wrap my head around what's the perfect use case for Lambda beyond uploading an image.
Just
I'll
batch
figure it
processing.
out one day.
It's batch processing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
it's perfect for that. Yeah. And I have some use cases for batch processing. So
yeah,
it's
that's perfect then.
Yeah. Don't need a server running all the time for batch processing.
Exactly.
I need something 24/7 for something I run twice a day. Why? Why?
Oh yeah.
Okay. A couple of tools. Amet, which was, he used to be at Google. This was the guy that created kubectl and kubectl. He was at Google. Yeah. He went to Twitter. He left Twitter. I'm not sure where he's at right now. He just left Twitter a couple of weeks ago. But he open sourced kubectl foreach. So now you can run a command across multiple clusters at once.
Okay, that's really cool. Very cool.
As a plugin. So it's a plugin. So here's the demo of kubectl foreach in Minikube across multiple whatevers, get all the pods, bang, bang, bang. So I see what is it. Anything that's prod and Minikube, and then it goes there. So
that was my main. That still is my main complaint about. There's a bunch of Kubernetes management tools. Starting from Rancher and then all around everybody else, and almost none of them does that. Does give me a view of what is going on across the clusters, right? It's usually, here's a list of your clusters, here's the CPU and what's not. Go into the cluster and see what's going on. So, thanks, Ahmed.
Thank you. We still should try to get him on. That's one person we've never tried to chase down. But anyway, new tool for kubectl or kubectl. What do we want to call it today? It's Friday, so it's kubectl on Fridays.
Yeah,
right?
I was told it's not kubectl, that's a word terrible, but I cannot get it now out of my mind.
So kubectl.
I was saying kubectl for years, and then people kept correcting me that it's not kubectl, and then my brain finally switched to kubectl, and now that's not right either. I'm never going to figure it out.
I don't know. But here's something else you can figure out is kalk. You probably don't do a whole lot of calculations, right? Your calculator usage is pretty small.
Yeah.
But for some people,
5, that's it.
Yeah, that's 3, right?
Give or take. With 5 kind of plus minus.
Okay. So anyway, kalk came out. A lot of built-in functions. Developer mode if you need to do floating point. Or hex, calcs. Lots of... And it's all command line. This is the reason why I brought it in there. It's all command line.
Nice.
It's
so cool to see that actually there are bigger terminal freaks than me. That's one of those things I haven't yet thought about running in terminal.
Did you ever do reverse Polish notation in school? No.
I mean, probably. I mean, I don't remember what I did in school. It's been a long time ago.
Anyway, 10,000 functions. Or no, not 10,000, 1,000 functions. Maybe I need to learn math again. Too many zeros. Anyway, kalk. Now here's a tool. We got through everything pretty quick today, and that's okay. Here's a tool I told Victor about last night. Did you get to play with it anymore?
Not yet, but I will. I certainly will. This is one of the tools from this week that I'm 100% going to go to try.
So we've talked about Charm before. Charm, they produce libraries for Go for writing TUIs, Terminal User Interface, TUI. So we've seen bubble tea before. We've seen other things. Like a lot of people use the charm libraries, but this is a full application called VHS. Yes, that VHS, as the logo says. And you can now create GIFs or video files from a command. So you have to install it. Pretty straightforward. VHS new demo tape. I think it's funny they're using the dot tape. That's just strange to me, but I get it, right? These guys have a lot of what's the word I'm looking for?
Creativity. Ideas?
Yeah, creativity
Ideas?
is the word creativity is it.
Yeah.
So VHS new demo tape, I'll tell you what it does. Basically, it just gives you, it's not a blank file, but it's got a bunch of stuff commented out, right? So you're not starting from scratch. So that's not a bad thing to do, right? So you can do that and see what happens. Or you could just create a new file and just start however you want. Then you have commands.
It doesn't have to be, I already checked, it doesn't have to be necessarily tape, right? You can pipe anything into it.
I haven't tried that. Did you try that?
Look at the command at the bottom of the screen, right? You're
Yeah.
typing demo tape.
Oh, well, yeah. But that's the other thing I found too, is you don't have to redirect it in. You can just say VHS in the file name.
Yeah.
So anyway, so here's what the tape file looks like. You specify the output, or you can do multiple outputs. So you can say GIF, and there'll be an animated GIF, or I don't have it installed on this machine. You can do an MP4, and you can do something else. I can't remember. You can set font sizes, widths, heights, and then the type command right there in the middle of the screen. So you can set on type. You can also change the speed of typing. So that will get typed out. In this case, it's saying sleep for half a second, and then hit enter. And then the command that you typed up a couple of lines above then actually executes and is captured. And then in this case, it slept at the end. So then what you're going to see from the output of that is this. So the tape file that was above outputs this, sort of. I've had some weird issues with this on my Mac Studio. And I don't know if it's the Mac Studio. There's two libraries that are required to do this. No, I want to go ahead and do this since we're here. VHS requires TTYD, which you ran into a problem with because you already had it installed on your machine, and FFmpeg, which I already had a lot. So if you notice here, if you're on Mac or Linux, you can install VHS. The highlighting will show up here. Okay, good. So you can do charm bracelet, tap, VHS, and FFmpeg. But notice how TTYD is here. So you have to do a brew install TTYD -- head. So Victor wasn't able to upgrade to do that for whatever reason. That command didn't work on his machine. So there's probably another brew command that you need to run. But more importantly than that, there's a container image you can just run. So that's probably what, Victor, you should do.
Yeah, exactly. I'll try one more time to upgrade TTYD, and if it doesn't work, Docker container it is.
Yeah. Wait, you just said it. You just slap your hand. You said Docker container. Golly.
There you go. I've been punished. I said it twice. I slapped myself twice. But I have two complaints about it without using it yet. If we go back to the example, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what would be awesome? If the commands are comments.
They are.
No, the set.
Wait.
And
okay, say that again. Say it again.
So if VHS specific commands are comments, and if anything that is not recognized as their command is just command. So I would like not to type and have set font size as a comment. And you know why? Because then I could actually pipe to it the script that I normally use.
Right.
Instead of maintaining two
files.
Like, this is my script and this is tape.
Right.
That would be absolutely awesome.
So there's the docs for everything are down below, and all the commands are referenced here. So the commands, when you do a VHS new, you get that tape file, and it's got pretty much all the commands there, but they're all commented out. And there's not a lot of content. So you need to come back over here to get all the content. Oh, WebM was the other file I was trying to remember. Or you can just do a directory of frames as PNG. I mean, they've covered everything. This one right here, require, is the one that you would always want to have, because if you don't have, in this case, if you don't have Gum or Glow installed, then it's just going to blow up. But you put require in there, then it's going to fail gracefully versus doing a hard fail. Yeah, I like your idea, but changing font size, changing font families, heights, line heights, typing speed. So the typing speed, this is one that you'll want to do, because I was playing around with this last night. You see here that very last line where it says type at. So if you're wanting to change the typing in line, that's where you want to do that. Because you can set it either at the top, like what it says set typing speed, but I was having some weird problems with that. So doing it in line with type made the most sense to me. There are themes that you can do, or you can create your own themes. Frame rates. I don't know what the max is. I haven't gone through the code to see if they cap it out, but 60 frames is pretty good. Gaming is 120. There's something magical about the brain. Once it sees it beyond a certain frame rate, whatever that is, 80, 90s, somewhere in that ballpark, it seems real instead of being 2D.
Yeah.
Type, keys, or key command. This is a key, so if you need to backspace, all these things, right? So you can do all this stuff.
Very cool.
Arrow keys, tab. Look, they should have taken tab out. Space. They should have only hit space, right? Sleep, hide. The hide and show is interesting too. So hide if you want to not show stuff. Like in this case, it's setting it up. So they hide it, type it all out, and then they start showing it, and it shows. So basically, it's secrets, right? So that's a way to do that. And you can put it in your CI tool. In fact, they even publish a GitHub action. So I was halfway thinking about doing a video with Jenkins on this. But I'm going to hold off for a week because I need to come up with a good story around it. I can't come up with a good story yet, or haven't come up with a good story. There's also this golden thing, which I'm still sort of scratching my head on. So basically, so it's creating what they call a golden file. And I haven't looked and tried to figure out what a golden file is. But taking a look at the output of it, it's just everything that ran. It's basically it's a log of everything that ran and how it ran. So I guess you could diff. So you can't really diff a animated GIF against a previous animated GIF, right? I could diff my tape files, right? But I can't diff my animated GIFs or my video files.
Okay, got it.
So this golden file gives you the ability to diff the representation in text of what the video files are, if that makes sense.
Very cool. That's my weekend. You ruined it. I could have watched a movie, or I could have done something else, and now I'm trying this because of you.
Yeah, and it's MIT license, which is even cooler. They MIT everything there.
We need to bring somebody from
there
to Paradox.
That's a good idea. It's super new, like 0.2.0. 17 days ago. I mean, what is the use case for this that you can see? Like, one of my ideas is doing it for producing a video of an example, and then dropping that video in as part of a bigger video set, or in presentations.
There was toolkit videos. I record screen separately. And this sounds like a perfect thing.
Oh, right. So now you could just type out all your commands and just say generate, walk away. Now, the thing I did see, which sort of makes sense, it does it in real time. So if you put in sleeps of 2 seconds, like I did a sleep but for typing for 2 seconds between each character.
Okay.
So it took a while, right? Because it was, type, slept for 2 seconds, typed again. So it's going to do it in real time. So that's going to be the only thing that might throw you off.
I'll see.
Yeah.
I'll play around with it this weekend, and then we'll see.
Okay. You could watch your own videos this weekend because they're a lot shorter than a movie.
I already saw them.
Oh, yeah. Somebody was asking me the other day, it's like, do you listen to your own podcast? I went, sometimes. I mean, I tried to listen to it on Friday morning so I remember what we talked about.
I mean,
so we can talk about it.
You probably listened to it 5 times before it went live, right?
More than that. Closer to 8. But
Exactly.
it's been, usually about 6 weeks since I've edited that episode. So I've edited 6 other videos or 6 other audios since then. And good grief, however many other videos. So anyway, we were talking about Harbor a few moments ago.
Yeah.
Why would you not use Harbor today? Other than, not self-hosting.
Yeah,
Right,
so if you do want to self-host, I cannot imagine a better option than Harbor if you self-host. Period. It's free. It's free and it's awesome. So what's not to like?
Okay. And
Especially
then,
now kind of that it expands the number of types of things you can keep there. It would be a tough fight now. Kind of, I would be slightly worried if I have self-hosted commercial version of something like that.
do they? I haven't looked. Is there a company around Harbor?
No, not that. No, I'm not sure that there will be because Harbor then so it's kind of like a layered cake. So there is distribution. I don't know if you know about that one.
Mm-mm.
So distribution is a CNCF project that is a base for registries, right? And then Harbor is built on top of distribution, just as Docker Hub is built on top of distribution, and so on and so forth. And then there are solutions on top of Harbor, right? Like VMware is the first example that comes to my mind. So when they offer Harbor, basically, when they offer registry, that's Harbor, right? I think that they modify it in certain ways and things, but essentially it's Harbor.
Okay. So Harbor. That was an easy
Yeah.
setup too, by the way.
It's very easy, yeah. The only the only problem is that if you're trying it out yourself first in some silly environment, right? You're going to suffer greatly if that environment is not behind the domain and you cannot put certificates into it. I suffered a lot and gave up and then kind of went for, okay, I'm going to do a demo with certificates.
Really? A demo about certificates? Happened to be next.
Oh yeah, that's
Right,
next.
that was this week.
That's actually why I did it. Yeah, this thing does not work without certificates. Okay, let's talk about it. Exactly.
So you get into Let's Encrypt.
Mm-hmm.
What you talk about a lot more than Let's Encrypt in this video. What other options do I have besides Let's Encrypt today for free known certificates? Are there any competitors to Let's Encrypt?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that Let's Encrypt supports like quite a number, let's say 10 different providers. Sorry, not Let's Encrypt. Not what am I talking about? Not like cert-manager.
Cert-manager, yeah.
Like 10-ish different providers, and Let's Encrypt is one of them. I always for a long time now, use Let's Encrypt or something like HashiVault, if you cannot exit for some reason the network and things like that.
Okay. Well, so cert-manager. Cert-manager.
So the way how I define it is use Let's Encrypt unless you cannot.
Right. Which, if you are air-gapped, you cannot. You could use cert-manager, but you could not use Let's Encrypt.
Yeah. And then cert-manager would need to go to some private issuer, right?
Right. Well, and that's the thing too, is if you're running, let's say, a home lab, in your house, that's effectively air gapped, or it should be. Let's put it that way.
I mean, if home lab cannot access internet, right?
Well, no, it's that Let's Encrypt has to be able to hit that endpoint, right? So you'd have to expose whatever your server is for Let's Encrypt to be able to drop it.
Yeah, but I might be
Right?
wrong because it's been a while since I did that, but I think that it can work with NIPIO.
Well, yeah, that would be, so doing a reverse proxy like that, maybe,
Yeah.
but I haven't
You
tried
cannot
it.
do DNS validation, but you can use you can do ACME validation, and then that works.
Oh, okay, that's true.
It should. Double check.
Right.
Don't take my word for it.
Okay. Have you already finished your videos for next week yet?
Yeah, the one for the Monday is uploaded,
Mm-hmm.
and I did my part for the. I wanted to say one or two more. I'm not sure. Now it's kind of two more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're not finished, right? They're in the editing process.
Editing.
So actually, that means that I'm not finished either, because they send it to me and then I
Right.
watch it and then I send notes back and then there is a loop over there, but almost.
Almost there. So, we should be back next week, right? No reason not. The question is,
Yeah,
what are we
till
going to
the
do
end of
about?
January?
Well, yeah.
Kind of, I'm not going anywhere. So unless it's one of those days that I'm, I don't know, day after holiday and I'm still drunk, but by this time I should be fine. So anytime.
Well, our Fridays happen before the holiday days, so I
There we go.
think we should be okay. My only, well, now I don't remember. I can't remember if the last Friday, that's December 30th, if I had something going on that day or not. I don't remember now. We'll be here as much as we can be. Let's just put it that way.
But this one is kind of like this specific stream that we're doing Friday. That one is easy on me. I just need to appear
Yeah.
2 minutes earlier, right? You're the one who's doing all the work, so it depends on you, man.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, Miroslav, good to see you. Showing up as I think we might end up wrapping a little bit early today.
Yeah.
I'm having some, I'm trying to find some ideas for videos, and I'm having some issues. But I need to go back into my corner and try to bang out some other ideas. Did you know there was a Rocky Linux 9? I found that out today.
I did not know that
Rocky
there is
Linux 9.
Linux 1.
Yeah, oh, okay. Well, there's not. There's a Rocky Linux
so
8
9 is
and a
not
9.
the version.
9 is
Huh?
the version. 9 is the version.
Okay, but it started from 8.
Started from 8.
Okay.
Different conversation, a different day. By the way, if you haven't voted for us yet,
who trusts the first couple of versions of something? If you want to be trusted, you go straight into some big number.
this is like me. I won't be touching Ventura probably until June or July of next year. I'm on Monterey. I am not moving off. Anyway, vote for us if you haven't voted yet. Actually, Victor can click on the vote. I can't click on the vote because it's on his side of the screen. All right. Anyway, one of those week. Okay. I've considered doing this. But I think that's as far as I will go.
Pipelines, not executing, writing.
Writing. Yeah. There's already been a lot of people do this already. I don't know if I can justify doing a video on this yet. Yet. It'd be like, okay, so let's stretch this one here for just a second. Would you consider having ChatGPT write your Terraform for you? Could it do that? Has anybody tested that yet?
Absolutely. I would not. I would be very skeptical, right? So I just eased into idea and actually rely heavily on something like Copilot. So not writing it for me, but giving me suggestions. Now, when I see that giving me suggestions that 99% of the time are actually, or higher, are correct, and I do not need to change anything, then we can talk about the next step, kind of like chatting about it and then writing it for me, right? But unless it's leaps ahead of something like Copilot, no.
Yeah, and I still have issues with Copilot, even with suggestions.
Yeah, but it gives you suggestion. Now, whether you press the tab key or no, that's up to you, right? If it hits 5% of the time or 95%, better if it's 95 than 5, right? But it's not really doing it for you unless you say, oh yeah, that looks good, right?
Yeah. I tend to agree with Alexandra here. Stop talking about ChatGPT. I'm over it already. It's cool, but
I did not even start with it, so
yeah,
I'm at a disadvantage here. Do I need to go through the same cycle as everybody to talk about it and then stop talking about it, or I can just not talk about it at all?
Just not talk about it. That's all you got to do is just
Easy.
not talk about it. That's all. It is cool, but you got other. You have to talk. You have to work on VHS. That's more important. Think about it. If you could, all right. So here's what you need to do. Here, hang on a second.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and talk. Go ahead and talk, because I'm going to share my screen here again.
Okay.
All right. So
examples.
These are the examples, and like they even checked in some of the files.
By the way, I spent the whole week with their kind of building a CLI based on.
Yeah, and you did this the whole time, right?
Yeah, I liked the outcome. I did not like the experience. It was too painful. I liked the outcome. It was awesome.
So why don't you? Yeah, why don't you? Because you said you have a problem. You've got your file that exists today with comments, right? Why don't you write a translator for that then calls VHS?
Yeah.
Could you do that easy enough?
Yeah,
with some Python or something, right?
Parsing, right?
Yeah,
so
it would just be parsing.
If I just kind of write a comment with special character, like hashtag space exclamation mark, then I know that what comes afterwards is VHS command, right?
Right. I'm looking for.
And everything that is not commented would automatically become type instruction,
correct,
right?
Yeah. That should work, right? Oh, this is interesting. This makes sense. So the default frame rate is 50. But in the US, that's not a normal frame rate. That's a normal European frame rate.
No. It's 60 in Europe, man.
Is it 60?
No, maybe.
It's 50. It's 50 and 25.
25 instead of, exactly.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. In the States, it's 30 and 60. TV is 29.97.
So does that mean that European capacity to process Europeans as humans' capacity to process frames is lower than yours? Kind of like 60 is too much for us.
I'm going to be polite and just not say anything. Now, I was trying to find. This is one question I had was, what is the frame rate? Max frame rate I can go. Okay, so default width. You're going to be creating 4K videos out of this, right? 4K commands.
I'm recording videos in 4K 25. So for me, 25 is, I don't need more because I don't need terminal to be higher frame rate than me.
You need to see all that joy right around here, right? That's the money maker right there. Okay. No, I guess, anyway. But I'm wondering, though, let's just do a parse and generate your tape file from that.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll first start with doing what they tell
What
me
they
to
say,
do, and then
and that way then you can set them side by side, and then you'll know, right?
Yeah.
Can you parse a gist that way?
So no, but I keep all my commands, at least for the videos, as sh file. So it's I don't use.
Oh, that's
I know
right.
a parse gist, yeah, but I create the gist, but that gist is based on a file that is in my repo, so it's all good. No need for that, for me at least.
Yeah. Movies is 25 to 30, right? Games is 60 plus. Games at 120, I think is what you would want, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did we go off on this tangent? I don't know. I know exactly why. I just don't want to go work on coming up with new ideas. That's what it is. Okay. Well, thanks for everybody for being here with us live today. If you're watching the replay, thanks for making it through that last roundabout thing. We will be back next Friday. What do we have going on next week? So you have your video on Monday, podcast on Wednesday.
AMA.
Do you have an AMA Thursday with somebody? I remember somebody's on next week. And then we're back next Friday.
Harbor.
Harper's on next week.
Go.
Really?
And completely unrelated with the video, kind of, yeah.
Oh, okay. Good. So that'll be Thursday over on the DevOps Toolkit channel. So just go YouTube DevOps Toolkit. And don't forget, go vote. Go vote. You can vote one time.
Go what?
You can only vote from one IP address. Actually, here, since we're still here, because I want to play this as by the rules as we can. Voting ends on December 31st at 5 p.m. Eastern. So that will be 11 p.m. CET. One person, one vote, meaning you can only vote the survey one time. It's on SurveyMonkey. One vote per IP address. That last line is the key part. One vote per IP address, one vote per person.
So it's not one vote, one person. It is one vote,
Stop.
one machine.
Stop. We're going to stay within the bounds of the rules.
I know, I'm not trying to cheat the system, just coming up with ideas. Look at it, Lambda. Do Lambdas get different IPs?
That's nice. Yes. That's Thanks everybody. That's we'll leave it there. We want to win this thing, and we want to win it fair and square. So
True.
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 All right. Thanks everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.